Welcome to Healing Your Families. I help young moms of kids with special needs go from frustration, stress, and overwhelm to calm, confidence, and joy so they can achieve the quality of family life that they desire. I'm a firm believer in families. Families are the foundation of our society. And if we want to make the world a better place, we need to strengthen those families. And that's what this show is all about. Well, conflict is inevitable in a family. There will always be differences, but you can have conflict without contention. It's all a matter of communication. And I'm really honored to have an expert on communication with me today. I want to introduce Jennifer Furlong. She's a motivational speaker, a communication skills consultant, an author, a podcast host, a TEDx speaker and coach, a media analyst, and a United States Marine Corps veteran. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Listening to all of that, I'm thinking maybe I need to narrow down and have more of a solid focus with all of that stuff that I'm into. I just enjoy helping people and working with people. I think that's the name of the game. So any way I could be of service. And I'm just really happy that you invited me to be on the show.
Well, I'm impressed with the background. That tells me you've had a variety of experiences and you are well qualified to talk about communication, which is probably, wouldn't you say, one of the most important parts of having a positive family relationships?
Oh, absolutely. I think communication, and it's cliche to say it because we hear it all the time, but communication truly is key to any relationship that we have, especially our most important relationships, which are our family relationships. So communication skills is one area that I highly recommend all family members try to just make it a daily habit to become savvy consumers and students of communication.
So I understand you teach these skills, and I wanted to start with just some specific ideas because anytime you have more than one person sharing living space, you're going to have conflict. There'll be differences of opinion, everything from how to squeeze a tube of toothpaste to what is the ideal temperature for the home. So
That's
what
right.
are your thoughts on positive ways to handle that conflict?
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Conflict is a perfectly normal part of any relationship. Whenever you have two or more human beings engaged in any type of a long-term relationship, chances are at some point you are going to have a disagreement about something. So be prepared for that. Don't automatically think that there must be something wrong with our relationship because we're having a spat right now. That's not the case. One of the first things that I like to recommend when anyone is interested in learning how to become more effective in resolving conflict or managing conflict is to take a step back and reflect on what did they learn about conflict from a young age. One thing that I think happens a lot is our go-to response to conflict. Sometimes it can just immediately be a negative response solely based on the history that we have with how the family unit dealt with conflict when we were growing up. For example, if you were brought up in a home where children were to be seen and not heard, you did not engage in any type of conversations at the dinner table. Your parents didn't discuss politics or religion or have any type of those, heavy, important discussions. And as you get older, try to involve you in those discussions, even up into the high school age. It's important to train our kids that conflict is healthy. It's normal. And there is a positive way that we can go about having these really important, critical conversations. So that's usually the first thing that I recommend, is really just taking stock of what is my perception of conflict. And if I automatically go to that negative place, where might that come from? And then how might that help me inform some of the things that I could possibly do to have a healthier perspective of what conflict is, and how it really at times is a necessary component to any relationship. Because let's be honest, sometimes we have to get through the hard stuff to get to the good stuff that's on the other side. And if you're the type that you never say anything because you don't want to rock the boat, what you're doing is you're accommodating. And that's not a healthy thing to do in any relationship either.
No, it certainly is not. Now, what if they come from a background of the solution was yelling? The more you believe something, the louder you say it.
Yeah. And I think that's probably, in addition to having that background, I think it's probably one of the natural responses we have, especially if we tend to be really emotionally connected to whatever it is that we're having an argument about. So that's one other thing that I recommend, is you have to stop for a moment and really consider, how are the other person's emotions possibly impacting their ability to communicate with you effectively, as well as think about what are your emotions that you are feeling right now, and how are those emotions having a negative impact on your ability to communicate with them. The closer we are to our emotions and the closer they are to the surface, the less we're thinking with our logical brain, and we're just thinking with our emotional brain. And if you want to be able to effectively manage conflict, you want to be able to get away from that emotional side of the brain and think more logically about the problem, and start implementing more positive types of solutions. And that's one of those positive solutions, is switch the focus to, okay, let's try to brainstorm together. Certainly there are many different ways we can go about solving this problem. So let's start there. Let's talk about that aspect of it. And then get into the logical side of the brain. And that definitely will help level out those emotions that you're feeling and that you're tending to allow to take over, how you're communicating with the other person.
And it goes back to the point you made at the first. If you understand that conflict is healthy and it's okay, you can disagree with someone and still love them.
Yes.
So if you have that firm foundation, I think we yell when we feel threatened.
Yep. That's right. That's right. Yep. See those emotions. I'm feeling threatened. I'm feeling disrespected. I'm feeling frustrated, which is something else that can help in any conflict. If you could be as specific as possible, specificity is the name of the game in any communication activity. If you use words like, well, yeah, I just feel bad right now. Well, that is really vague, and I feel bad can mean a whole host of things. So if you're really wanting to give the other person an indication of just how much this is negatively impacting you, then try to be as specific with the language as possible. Right now I'm feeling very frustrated. Right now I feel very angry about this. Right now I'm feeling really sad about this. If you can pinpoint that, then you'll have a much better chance of recognizing, oh, I am feeling angry right now. And you know what? Maybe I need to take a time out. That right there, is going to help you make logical decisions. Again, the logical decisions in order to move forward.
I love a word you used. You said, how can we brainstorm? So in other words, you're saying, I'm not seeing you as the enemy. This issue we disagree on. Let's see how we can resolve that, or how we can agree to disagree.
Yeah. Creating solutions is such an incredibly effective tool to get through the problem, because as soon as you can remove yourself emotionally from it, and you can stop thinking about it in terms of, well, you are the problem, or you as a person you're unwilling to compromise, your emotions are in the way, you can't see anything, you can't see past your own whatever it is that you're having issues with. When you start focusing on people instead of the problem, that's not a healthy way to deal with any type of conflict. So absolutely try to be as specific with the solutions as possible. That way you can really focus on the things, the actions that need to happen versus focusing on the people and the individuals. Mhm.
And doesn't it also help to separate those issues that it really is okay if you don't agree? For example, my husband and I, on a number of occasions, just before an election, have simply agreed that we're going to go to the polls and cancel each other out. And that's okay.
Yeah. Hey.
The important
okay.
thing is we each have the ability to vote our conscience, and that's okay. We've decided, I respect you for your opinion, that's fine. We'll just go to the polls and cancel each other out. It's okay.
You said the key word right there, respect. I respect your opinion. I may not agree with you, and I may not agree with the way you're casting your vote, but hey, at least I can understand where it's coming from. It's aligning with your values, and I can respect that. That is a huge piece.
Now, when it's an issue of maybe, I don't know, a severe case that comes to mind is if there is any type of drug abuse or illegal activity,
Mm-hmm.
and there are far-reaching impact and consequences, which is that best approached?
That is so tough. And there are a few things that I recommend anyone who is in that type of a situation. There's chaos in the home. There might be drug abuse. There might be alcoholism, any type of violence, that's happening in the home. Number one, I think what happens, especially with a lot of women, what happens is we want to believe that this is going to be a one-time thing. So I recommend anytime your significant other does something that is really upsetting, and I'm not talking about, okay, they didn't make the bed, for the day. I'm talking things like what you're talking about, something that's really egregious, something that is very painful, and it's causing a lot of issues within the relationship. Think about, is this something, whatever this person did, is this something that is out of character for them? Or is this something that you can say there is a precedence for this? This is a pattern that's been established. And the reason I recommend that is if you can sit there and say, okay, you know what? This was we've been together for 20 years and I have never, ever, ever seen this person act this way before. I've never seen them say these things before. I've never seen them have this behavior. There is something triggering them. There is something happening. That is worth diving into a conversation. That is worth expressing your love and your desire, and that you care about them. You desire to help in any way that you can. You want to offer whatever support that you can, because it is possible that we screw up. We do things, we screw up, and it's just that mistake and it's out of character for us. But if it's something that a pattern has been established and you can pretty much understand this is a part of that person's character, you have some questions that you have some soul searching and some internal work that you're going to have to do at that point. Because at the end of the day, effective communicators understand that you cannot control how anyone else behaves. You cannot control how they act. You can't control what they say, but you can control how you act. You can control how you behave. You can control the things that you say in given situations. So you really have to think about what am I in control of here? And what is it that I want to get out of the situation? What is the goal, that I'm striving for? And maybe what are the different avenues that we can take together to arrive at that goal? But when you have really complex issues like that, I highly recommend also getting someone, a professional, to help guide you through that, because you don't want to have to go through something like that alone.
I totally agree. And I was thinking that too. It may be a case where something has changed and professional help is needed. I love that. But you also touched on, and it brought up another question. In every relationship, there are what I call the deal breakers that I can put up with the dirty socks on the floor. I can, the snoring, none of that bothers me. But if he does this, that I cannot accept.
Yeah.
So, and I loved what you said about looking for the pattern and separating. And that, that takes getting those emotions well under control and just doing some calm thinking.
Yeah. And you have to know, like you said, you have to know where your boundaries are. And you really need to have a conversation at some point. And I recommend this early in the relationship. So if you are thinking that, okay, this could potentially be the one, I would highly recommend having a conversation that goes something like this. Okay, I know that we're going to eventually have an argument. We're both human. We're going to get into a fight at some point. It's just going to happen. What are our rules of engagement? Like, I think we need to put up some rules that we both we can agree to, because it's really important. Respect for one another is really important. So I think that is a really important conversation to have early in the relationship, if possible. If you haven't had it yet, then at least try to have it now.
Okay, now some people, they fall in love while they're young and they have visions of living happily ever after. But at any point in the relationship, can't they still negotiate? I love that. The rules of engagement. I love that.
Yeah, of course, you can always go back and renegotiate what your boundaries are. Because one of the things that, somebody in a relationship will say, especially after you've been together for quite some time, you're not the same person I married, or you've changed so much. Well, yeah, I mean, people do change. We may have our core values that we could stick with, but I mean, sometimes even our values might change depending on the experiences we have, the people we come across, the friends we engage with, the classes that we take, how open we are and receptive we are to different viewpoints and different perspectives. So, of course, over time, I certainly hope that you are not the same person at 30 that you were at 20. There should have been some growth over that decade that occurred. So number one, of course you have done some changing. So maybe now it is time to sit down and renegotiate. Let's talk about the rules of engagement again, and what our boundaries are, and what we can abide by and what we cannot abide by. What are those deal breakers? And are we going to be able to respect one another's wishes enough to be able to adhere, to that, to be able to respect those requests? And so it's a constant renegotiation, a constant cycle, because as we grow, we are going to change, and the things that we like and dislike are also going to evolve.
So along with accepting that conflict is healthy, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not a threat to the relationship. Seeing it as an opportunity to grow, allowing the relationship to grow with the two individuals that are in it.
Yeah. And I would say be open to the idea, because this is also something that can potentially happen. your type of relationship could evolve. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, we could have a conversation about how do we define, what's bad, as far as, okay, we used to be very romantically involved, and now we feel like we are absolutely 100% best friends, but we're not necessarily romantically compatible. We can see that now. That can be a good thing, but that's the decision that you two have to make as a couple. Is the relationship that you have one that you don't want to let it go because you really do feel that that person is an important person in your life? It's just the way that they are, you're connected with one another. That may evolve over time as well. So just keep that in mind, because sometimes I think one myth that many people will mistakenly believe in, especially when we talk about communication being the key to all relationships, is we make the mistake of thinking that communication can solve our problems and make sure that we maintain our relationship the exact same way that it is right now. A positive outcome could be that we can communicate about this in a way that helps us understand that the relationship is evolving, and we can be okay with that too.
I love that example. I'm so glad you brought that up, that you may not be able to keep your relation. In fact, really, when you say someone has changed, that should be a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to just give an example as you spoke of that. It reminded me, my husband and I'm the youngest in my family. He's the oldest. He is 3 years older than I am. And when we got married, we had this relationship of, the older, wiser, taking care of the younger, more innocent. And fortunately, we both got tired of that at about the same time. And we transitioned from that into being more equals.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking our relationship is so much better because we did. I don't think we would have stayed together if it had stayed.
Yeah. And when you think about, some of the couples who end up not staying together, and, for a whole host of reasons, I'm certainly not going to judge a couple who makes the decision that maybe it is best that we go separate ways, because sometimes it for them as individuals, maybe they do need that time to be able to grow as individuals, depending on the relationship, depending on the situation that they're in. I think this happens a lot when couples who get married very, very young, they might find as they get older, or, as the kids grow and leave the home, they begin to realize, wow, I've got some internal work to do, but if you can do that together, that's really ideal. So even if you do make the decision, that our relationship as it is now is not working, you can at least hopefully have a good enough of a conversation, communicate with one another effectively enough that you can talk about those boundaries. You can talk about what your idea of the relationship is. You can be respectful of one another. You can do some perspective taking. That's really important in any relationship when you're communicating with one another. Try to see it from the other person's perspective. What is it that they are thinking about this? What do you think they are feeling about this? And how is that having an impact? What do you think their goals are? Allow them to explain that and try to see it from their perspective. Again, that's that logical part of the brain, though, so that perspective taking is a huge positive way to be able to have those conversations as well.
So being open to the possibility it's not going to go the way you had wanted or thought it would. And I loved how you talk about see the other person's perspective, understand I'd love that. And I just need to put in here quickly, and then I want to hear more about how services you offer, but especially if there are children involved. If they, and I'd love to, if it's determined the best thing is to go their separate ways, if they can do this with kindness and respect, so neither party is damaged, as little as possible, and then they can still communicate and co-parent.
Yeah. That
That
is the most important aspect right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jennifer, I love talking to you. You just have wonderful insights. Now, tell us, in the time we have remaining, I'd like to have you tell us the services you offer and what's the best way for people to contact you.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I am owner of Communication 24/7. It's a communication consulting firm. So really what I do in my day job is, as a communication consultant, is I go into different organizations and I help them manage their most difficult communication challenges. So I deal directly with the workforce. I will help managers learn how to give feedback more effectively. I'll help departments learn how to manage conflict more effectively. I try to turn groups into teams, at the organizational level. In addition to that, what I do is I have communication coaching on the side. And one thing that I'm starting really soon, if anybody is interested, is because I am a TEDx coach as well as a TEDx speaker, is I'm going to start offering some coaching sessions in that, because I've had, for some reason, a lot of people have been coming out of the woodwork wanting to get up on that big stage, and I want to be of service in that capacity. So the best way to contact me, if you feel that you would like to just have a quick chat, I absolutely love to have one-on-ones. I want to be of service. So if you want to just contact me, I'm on LinkedIn. You can go to my website, which is www.communication247.com. It's all spelled out, no letter or no numbers in there. And we'll just set up a time to have a quick chat, and I'll see how I can be of service and help you get to that next point, whatever it is. If you want to get on a stage, or if you just need help figuring out how best to have a courageous conversation, give some feedback. I'm more than happy to have a conversation.
I love that. And your website is also under your contact information on LinkedIn, right? So they just need to remember your name, Jennifer Furlong. Right. They find you on LinkedIn and they can contact you through there.
That's right. Yes.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I love the insights you shared on communication and resolving conflict. To my viewers, come back next week at the same time. And if you are here live and want to have questions, you want to talk to Jennifer, we'll be doing that in just a few minutes. So I'm Emmylou Penrod with Healing Your Families, and I believe that we can make the world a better place by strengthening families, and you can reach me at healingyourfamilies.com.